they've never seen anything like this before. There are very worrying reports that there may be attempts to have a mass displacement of Palestinians into Egypt, that they may try to make them flee completely into the desert. The situation has never been as serious as it is tonight. It's absolutely terrifying.
Just tell me, first of all, what you are hearing from your teams on the ground in Gaza.
We're hearing that the situation on the ground in Gaza is an absolute disaster and about to get much worse. We have a team of staff on the ground in Gaza. There are 250,000 people so far who've been displaced. 7 of them are my staff with their families. People are fleeing to wherever they think might be safer than their homes. They're fleeing to schools. They cannot leave because all the exits have been sealed. So they have nowhere safe to go. They're running. The Israeli Defence Minister has said that they will impose a total siege on Gaza, that they will allow in no food, no water, no electricity, no aid. Food is starting to run low. One of my colleagues has run out of drinking water. We have a volunteer doctor, a British doctor, who has gone to volunteer in the main hospital in Gaza City. The house that he was staying in was destroyed overnight, and the roads around the hospital have been destroyed, making it very difficult for ambulances to reach there. He says that the hospital resembles a slaughterhouse, and the majority of the casualties who are coming into the hospital are children. Israeli troops are massing on the border and they're preparing for a ground invasion, so everybody is a bit terrified about what lies ahead.
And when I caught up with you earlier, you were trying to contact members of your team out there doing humanitarian work who were themselves under fire.
Yeah, our staff are aid workers. 7 of them have had to flee their homes because their homes are being bombed. Not all of their homes still exist. One of my staff has lost her son, another one has lost a nephew, another one had to end a call yesterday because he had to go and bury his friend. I just finished a team meeting. I don't know if all my team will be alive in the morning, and this is what my Palestinian colleagues have to live with. They're civilians, they're aid workers, they're mums and dads and brothers and sisters. They are civilians, and under international law, civilians are supposed to be protected from harm. Civilians need to be protected, civilian infrastructure needs to be protected. These are innocent people just like us. They've done nothing wrong, and they're terrified about what lies ahead.
And when you describe a situation like that, I mean, are they still trying to do humanitarian work? Are they still trying to get basic supplies to the local people?
Yeah, then that's the most amazing thing, that amidst it all, they've managed to release $700,000 worth of medical supplies to the hospitals there. They've released blankets, mattresses, hygiene kits for people who've been displaced and are trying to keep safe. So amidst everything else and the terror of having to leave their homes, of trying to judge when it might be safe to go out and look for food, they are still absolutely determined to do their job and to try to get aid to people who need it. It's becoming very difficult to move around, though. It's not safe it's not safe at all, but it's even more dangerous to leave your home, and it's difficult for vehicles to move around because many of the roads have been bombed. So my colleagues are, despite it all, doing everything that they can. We are doing everything that we can to help. We need people to donate to help. And what we really need is for the international community to apply pressure for the laws of war to be upheld. Civilians should be protected, civilian infrastructure should be protected, aid must be allowed in, and there is no military solution to this conflict.
But it sounds, from what we're hearing from the Israeli Defence Force, and we heard on this programme from a very senior former Major General in the IDF, talking about a total blockade of Gaza, making it virtually impossible for Hamas to operate from there, but also, if that happens, presumably making life virtually impossible for the civilians that live there.
Yes, I mean, so far 800 Palestinians are dead, 4,000 are injured. It's clear that many more civilians are going to die. It's illegal under international law to impose such a blockade, such a siege, a collective punishment on people. It's illegal to deprive them of water and food in the way that is being done, and that's why the international community so urgently needs to wake up and act.
Life in Gaza, of course, has been very, very difficult for many, many years, and we have seen upsurges in violence. But how do you think the current situation compares with what we've seen there before?
This is unprecedented. My colleagues have lived through, as you say, they've been under blockade for 16 years. They've lived through serious escalations, particularly in 2014 and 2021. They've never seen anything like this before. There are very worrying reports that there may be attempts to have a mass displacement of Palestinians into Egypt, that they may try to make them flee completely into the desert. The situation has never been as serious as it is tonight. It's absolutely terrifying.
And I mean, what are the options for people there? Families, women, children, the elderly?
I mean, there are two options. You stay in your home and hope for the best. One of my colleagues, who's a disabled man, a disability expert, is hiding under the stairs with his family, with his wife and kids. Or you try to move to somewhere safer. So for some people, that's a school. They're hoping that schools won't be hit, although one was hit last night. Others are trying to stay with family in places that they think might be a little bit safer, but there is nowhere safe.
And you talked about international law. We've also heard from the head of the UN humanitarian projects that this may be illegal under international law. But at the moment, there doesn't seem to be any international pressure on the Israeli government to consider the lives of civilians and of aid workers like your team.
We're really worried about the lack of international pressure. The international community bears huge responsibility for what is happening right now and how we got to this place, and they must act now to abort a complete catastrophe.